So hello there. Today I'm going to talk about some vulnerabilities about PY-YAML. So first of all, let me introduce about what is YAML. YAML is actually a serialized file that is commonly used as a configuration file and also some sort of data storage or transformation between applications or inside applications. So the version we talk about today is 5.1.1. The vulnerabilities, the main function about that has the vulnerabilities is YAML.load, and also is some of its loaders. To start with, we're gonna have a look at this exploit.py, which is a simple usage of YAML. We import YAML in the first place, and then we define a data, which is in a YAML format. But the content inside of it is actually a Python/object/apply and uses subprocess to popen ls. So basically, the ls is the arbitrary code. So this vulnerability is an arbitrary code execution. If it could be exploited by the attacker, then it will be able to run any sort of code as they want on the target machine. So the vulnerable function here is this .load. So the default load function or the default loader actually has some sort of restrictions to prevent the remote code execution from happening. If we just simply run this code, let's see directly where this exploit.py is located in. It was just Python3 exploited.py. And we can see some warnings, some errors shows up. Basically, it's just like you don't have the subprocess. So that subprocess is not imported. In order to bypass this restriction, it's actually quite straightforward. All you need to do is just import another thing that uses subprocess. So it could be something really simple, just import a subprocess, or you import some sort of Python library that uses subprocess. So in this case, I'll import Flask, which uses subprocesses. And we're gonna hit run again. And as you can see, although it pops some sort of warnings here, but the code is executed. So that's the main point. The arbitrary code execution has already been accomplished. So another vulnerability is let's look at the exploit 2. So this instead of directly opening a YAML string, it can open a YAML file. And in this case, the vulnerable function is called full load. What it does is actually a vulnerable loader, and could potentially still lead to arbitrary code execution as well. So let us have a look at the test.yaml, which is this one. This is quite straightforward. It only has 2 lines in the YAML file format. So the first one is arbitrary code, and it points to this one, the Python.apply subprocess popen, still the old thing, and other things doesn't matter. So let me run this one. Python3 exploit 2. As you can see, the error popped up again. The subprocess is not imported. So in this case, we're gonna do the same thing again. Just import. I'll do just import subprocess here to say that you just do import subprocess and it will work as well. Yep. There's even no warning is shown up. They just execute your code, and that's it. So as for those sort of vulnerabilities, I'm gonna show you a more functional, more useful example. So I have a demo.py here, which all it does is open a Python open server that has some it's a web page, All right, just a second. I need to run this thing first. Yep. And I guess right now HTTP this thing. And I'm gonna go to the web browser and right, quite straightforward. All right. So what it does is it will accept a base64 code, and yeah, you're gonna use the YAML load function, which is vulnerable. So here is how we're gonna exploit it. Sorry, kind of forgot. You need to do this thing first. So all it does is basically just create a Python payload, for some sort of reverse shell engineering. And we'll hit enter. We'll get it takes a second. We will get we'll get this execute file, execute content. And then we can go to, so that's how I get this one, but I already got it in my payload. So basically it's in another YAML file. Still use this sub process. It's quite powerful. And the next thing is just like simply use base64 to encode it into a 64 payload, or just encode it. Okay, so we'll have a look at the 64 payload. Say something like this. All you need to do is just to copy paste those base64 encoded thing. Oh, almost forgot. It's a reverse shell, so I gotta to the port. All right, all good to go. Now we have the shell. You can basically run anything, run any code that you want, and you could try all sort of things to try to privilege your, try to escalate your privilege, or try to get resistance, or things like that. All right, thank you for watching, and have a good one.